Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Embodied by Mac. My name is Michaela. I'm an evolutionary and predictive astrologer, and today we're here for your February 2026 horoscopes. This is a rocking and rolling month because we start off the month with a very dramatic full moon in Leo, and then we have Saturn moving into Aries, which is initiating a 3-year cycle. Saturn's going to conjunct Neptune at 0 degrees Aries, which is a cycle we have never experienced before in our lifetimes. That's a total reset in a certain part of your life. And we also have a new eclipse season starting in the Aquarius Leo axis. So, eclipse seasons tend to be pretty intense and can accelerate things in our life and feel like we're being forwarded back onto our path or redirected onto our path. And it's really where time collapses, karmic situations kind of fall into place and we get redirected and pushed along further in our journey for growth, for evolution, to meet your aspirations, to meet your goals, your manifestations, what have you. But eclipses can be intense emotional periods. So we're going to talk about that definitely. And then towards the end of the month, we are in the middle to the end of the month, we are in a Mercury retrograde period. So, first Mercury retrograde of 2026. So, there's just a few things I want to touch on for each of the astrological signs for this month. I think that's pretty much enough to get covered. And at the end, if you feel like you want a reading with me, then you can go to embodiedbymac.com. You can book a reading right through there, or you can connect with me on any of my social media on Instagram, TikTok, or here on YouTube. You can find my email, send me a letter, and let me know if I can help you. And if you want a reading to navigate the next 6 months ahead for us in 2026. Okay, so make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and get ready for your horoscope. Okay, Leos and Leo rising. So we start off the month with a full moon on February 1st in your first house. Okay, so this is all about your self-expression out in your persona in the forefront, your personal identity being illuminated here. So this might be a day where, there's more heightened self-awareness around your confidence and where you're at. Maybe there's more recognition and spotlight on you in general from other people coming in. This desire, at least, to feel recognized for your gifts, your creative talents, your specialness, your purpose. And basically just a desire for you to be recognized for who you are. And you very much could get this on this full moon, or at least the few days leading up to this full moon, or the day after leading up to this full moon. This could be good energy for you to really feel like your emotional expression is able to come out and be authentic and be real. And then it's also received with, respect and dignity and spotlight attention from other people in your world. Okay. This could also, because a full moon is all about illumination or integration, this could be like a new sense of renewal with your self-identity and your ego kind of coming together and merging as one, and you getting this personal breakthrough, or at least this release of like maybe who you used to be or who you used to think you are and who you actually are now. But it's more in this like confident tone, there's more confident way of coming up and showing up for yourself, right? So you could also be letting go of an old version of yourself who you thought yourself true to be from previous times. And now the drama of the Leo comes in and it allows you to step into your full authenticity for you to be appreciated. And honestly, Leo rising, you are looking for that recognition from other people, but you're not really going to get it unless you feel like you're embodying it yourself, right? And you're able to recognize yourself as this special person, this creative person, this multifaceted, talented individual who can leave a mark, who can be a leader. Okay. So this could be a full moon type of energy, like breakthrough energy for you, where there's these like very strong emotions that start to come over you that pull you towards this next level of like self-assertion, if you will. Okay. Overall, I think that's a really nice full moon for you. It's definitely could be a shift in your appearance too. Not just your attitude, but like how you're physically showing up, how you're physically dressing. And that also can play into the character or the charisma that you present yourself to other people. And like, are they recognizing you for this? Like, are you deciding to, up your confidence and dress better and like now you're getting special attention because like your whole persona is just kind of upgrading or leveling up or changing in some way. This could very much manifest itself as this like public view from other people that your identity is kind of climaxing and reaching this like new point, right? And it's this new point of integration of yourself. Next thing we're going to go to is the Saturn and Neptune cycle that's beginning in your ninth house. So this is a big deal because we're mixing a 3-year transit of Saturn and Aries moving through your ninth house with Neptune and Aries for the next 14 years moving through your ninth house, right? So this is all about restructuring your belief systems, okay? And coming into a new alignment, a heavier, a weightier alignment when it comes to your belief systems. For you, the ninth house, it's very important, this transit, because your belief systems are going to be the direction of the trajectory of your life going forward. And you're getting this reset here at 0 degrees Aries, okay? So you could be blending now in a new way that maybe you hadn't done before your spiritual beliefs with like structured discipline and thinking. Maybe you decide that you're gonna go into a higher level of education, right? With Saturn being there, like a doctoral program or a master's program, right? Maybe you're going to college in general, you're deciding to take higher education seriously. Maybe you're having a spiritual reckoning and awakening, and you decide to study under a guru or a mentor or join a religious or a spiritual community. And, that kind of shapes and becomes more of a structure and a pillar, if you will, in your life, right? There's this kind of long-term vision being created here with Saturn and Neptune, that deals with initiating a new perspective coming over your consciousness, okay? And it might not begin right now, right, on the 13th of February, although you might have had a preview of it from last year. But it could very much begin now, and then over the course of the 3 years, there comes in some kind of discipline needed to work this out. And then over the Neptune 14-year cycle, this kind of spiritualized effect that comes on where you kind of lose the meaning in some things that you once believed in, but new meanings are rebirthed, if you will, in your consciousness. Okay. This could also deal with not only long-term visions for higher education. So over the next 3 years, like some of you, again, like I said, might be interested in higher education and higher learning and so forth. And maybe you're dealing with institutions on that level, like maybe you're trying to get in and Saturn's kind of like giving you this block right now, right? Like your GPA isn't high enough or something, and you kind of have to work a little extra effort or work a little harder to like get into the program that you want to get into. But this could also do with like long-term visions for travel. So for some of you Leos who picture yourself maybe living abroad or traveling more often, you could be co-creating with the universe to try to spiritualize that, to make that happen, to allow the universe to give you that gift to make that happen. Okay. So at times you could feel skeptical over things in your life, and then at other times you could have like immense faith and renewed faith in these things. You could also be redefining what truth means for you because the ninth house is very much about us finding our own meaning of what truth is. And that is, of course, colored by ninth house themes, which is like religion and culture itself, and what our lens, what we've been opened to. And so there could be a reopening around these themes too, or Maybe work is bringing you abroad somewhere, and so that's where you you kind of have this renewed sense of faith, right, if you will, or renewed sense of what truth means and like what is your perspective when it comes to like worldly views or you in the world and how you're showing up in the world itself. Okay. There's something about I would say turning your dreams, which is going to be Neptune's realm, about like travel or teaching or higher education, into something concrete, but that taking a little bit longer of a time. Now, you would have had previews of this energy of Saturn at least from May 24th to September 1st of 2025. And that would have given you a preview of where are these structures um, available to be built, or where do you need to put more responsibility into this area of your life. Okay. um, there would have been some, sprinkles of what that looks like during that time frame. And then Neptune here is like, where does the dream live? That essentially you would have had a preview of that between March 30th to October 22nd of 2025, just so you can do some reflection there. Moving into the solar eclipse, which is going to be a very big deal for you Leos and Leo risings, because this is happening in your relationship house. Okay. So the solar eclipse is a new moon eclipse, and it's at 29 degrees of Aquarius. I'm just trying to move the chart back a little bit. So the moon is there. Forgive me. So eclipses are intense energy, and they can often feel like we have to rush or accelerate things in our life. Now, I'm going to tell you, you do not have to make any rush decisions or accelerate things. Usually, eclipses, to me, from what I have seen, they will just rewrite your path for you if you are not on the right path, right? So, this is kind of where fate comes in, right? Your dharma comes in, your soul kind of takes the helm and pushes things or brings things into your consciousness for you to get back in alignment with what's true to your soul and what your soul really wants to accomplish in this lifetime. Okay. And this has to do with your relationship sector of your house. So this is your one-to-one relationships, your very close friends, your partner, your spouse, your business partnerships, your clients, if you have them. Okay. There can be sudden shifts here because it's a new moon. There's going to be an ending that happens and then also a beginning. This will more likely be seen throughout the 6 months following this eclipse on February 17th, but you might start to feel the themes or at least vibrate the themes throughout the beginning of the month of February nonetheless. Okay. So this does not mean that if you are in a current relationship that your relationship is going to end and be destroyed. It could very much mean that you're getting an upgrade in that relationship. And what does partnership look like for the both of you? Okay. What does equality look like for the both of you? Are your needs being met between the both of you? And that can do with your, again, your significant relationships, your business partnerships, your clients, and so forth, right? We're looking at the energy exchange here between you and others and how you relate to others. So there can very much be new beginnings that are radical that are happening because you're having these breakthrough energies in your life at this point. I would not fight them. I would allow them to happen if they feel true and authentic for you. If you feel like you've been dealing with power struggles in relationships and you're having this breakthrough energy where you're like, I don't want to have these power struggles, and this is why these are happening, you could have these unexpected changes come in with you. And in turn, that's going to change the contracts and the agreements that you have with your significant others in your life, right? Your friendships, business partnerships, and so forth. But again, so if you're single, also very much could have a new partner come in. If you're already in an existing relationship, that could just mean that the dynamic of the relationship is changing and the meaning of the relationship is changing, which is going to change, the agreement structure and so forth. Does not mean it's negative, just means it's accelerating and it's getting an upgrade if that happens. Shortly after that, oh, and I do want to say that this eclipse cycle has themes to the last time the eclipses began in Aquarius and Leo. So the last time we had eclipses in Aquarius and Leo, if you want to think back to similar themes that will show up for you, that was February 2017 to January of 2019. Similar themes will be coming up, okay? And then you can even go further back than that, of February 2008 to August of 2009. Similar themes will be coming up. Again, it will not be the same scenarios because many of the planets are in different positions, but the eclipses were happening in the same houses of your natal chart. This eclipse cycle that begins on February 17th is going to last until January of 2028. So we have, especially for you, Leo, you have this eclipse cycle happening for a few years in your relationship sector and in your sense of self, right? In your direction and your purpose. So I would say that the month of February is a massive highlight for you to know what's going to happen for you over the next couple of years because of the full moon that's happening in your first house and because of the new moon eclipse that's happening in your seventh house. They're going to give you significant insight into this eclipse cycle for you. And then at the end of the month, we are starting a Mercury retrograde, and the Mercury retrograde begins on the 22nd. But I will tell you that the shadow period of Mercury retrograde begins February 11th. So February 11th, all the way to March 20th, I would not make any permanent decisions or changes, especially when it comes to joint finances, okay, or contracts signed with other people. This is a time when you're going to be revisiting your shared resources, okay, and re-examining your financial entanglements, okay? So while this eclipse is rupturing your seventh house's partnerships, you're also investigating the deeper complexities of relationships. And that's when we decide to join our finances, trust other people, reach the helm of intimacy, right? And so forth. And so during this Mercury retrograde cycle, it gives you time to go more introspective and dig really deep into your own intimacy issues and your own psychological issues, especially when it comes to merging or sharing with another person. Okay. This is a very deep introspective cycle. At times, it might feel foggy because it's Pisces and Mercury will be in Pisces. There could be miscommunication, absolutely. So just know that you really want to navigate through the full retrograde cycle to have the full picture. And you will have the full picture once we get out of this cycle on March 20th. You'll have much more of a clear perspective, but I would not encourage you, unless you absolutely have to make any changes or decisions when it comes to joint finances, contracts, inheritance things, marriage things, intimacy things, psychological things, really dig deep. Maybe this is a great time for you to just see a therapist for a couple of weeks at a time, or a life coach or a spiritual coach or whatever, right? Or go into meditation practice, or spend some time in solitude where you can kind of really get deep into these emotional dynamics. Because I do think for a lot of you guys, there's going to be some emotional wounds that can resurface under this Mercury retrograde and need healing. And it's happening right in the middle of an eclipse period, so things can get very intense, I think, for Leos and Leo rising. So just allow yourself to go with the flow, right? Because at the same time, your meaning of life and your truth and all that is also getting you energy from the Saturn and Neptune in the ninth house, right? So you've got a lot of changes going on, and they could very much just redirect the entirety of your life, right? So utilize the month of February to acknowledge the self, appreciate the self, but then also give some room and compassion and grace for you to be flexible and be more introspective in the month of February. That's it for Leo and Leo rising. I'm going to leave it with there, and I hope you have a good month, and I will see you guys soon.